Let's just play a little game with your attention.
Okay.
You put your attention somewhere around your abdomen, somewhere around your waist, wherever you feel there's activity when you breathe.
Okay.
Just notice that area and sing it again. And you don't have to do anything, but pay attention to that area.
Okay. But I'm not saying a thing.
That was really different.
It was really different. I leaned into that, the lower part of my ribs and like that, the obliques really wanted to squeeze. I noticed a little bit of like release this way in my abs, but this was where the attention kept coming back to. I'm in love. That's where it was like very active. Just on its own. I thought that was odd, but.
And so did you like intervene? Did you do anything about that or just allow that?
No, I just leaned into it, and I felt a little bit more, less stuff was happening here on that I'm singing I'm in love. Like that felt easier and less effort.
And less effort.
Oddly enough, less effort. Just focusing my attention on my core.
Really, really interesting. I love that. Why don't you do that one more time just to investigate a little bit deeper and more like not as an intervention, but a line of questioning.
But I'm not saying a thing. That was very interesting. I needed less air. And there was like, the air was, I know it comes from your lungs, but the air was coming from the muscles in the stomach. Like the muscles in the stomach were like, I'll tell you when to breathe.
Cool.
Which was kind of neat. That last phrase, instead of, I'm saying I'm in love, but I'm not saying, it went all the way through. And it was like my abs squeezing in were like, we are going to make sure that the air goes where it needs to go.
Nice.
Which was really neat.
That sounds like a description of control.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that letting the abs control the flow of air and not me feeling like I gotta take another breath.
How does that complement or compete with your existing knowledge of how you use the breath in a like textbooky way?
Yeah, it definitely, the competition is in me anticipating needing to fill up without actually using the air, is in direct competition with the trunk of my body being like, no, your core helps to compress your abdomen, which helps to move the air. You don't need to breathe. But I think the compliment is that then when I do take a breath, it's connected to that. It's not coming from like the upper part of the lung chamber.
Nice. So it sounds like just putting your awareness in a specific area in your torso, invited it in to function fuller, or maybe just turn the lights on in your awareness of how this area actually is participating.
Yes, it was like a light switch. It's like, oh, hi down there. You're doing a whole thing, and I'm up here panicking about not having enough air.
Let's shift our focus just a little bit. What would you see, and what would you start to recognize as a part of the whole body activity of singing if you put your focus towards your pelvic floor?
But I'm not saying a thing. That was very interesting. I needed even less air. And something really interesting happened on When Her Heart Takes Wing. That A vowel, that ing, like singing, it less and less, but it gets a little caught here. Mm-hmm. But by the time I got to This Bird Is Singing, it was like the throat channel widened just a little bit more, and it didn't quite feel like it was all larynx driven.
Beautiful. I mean, they're absolutely connected. You know, there's sort of almost a symmetry between how we use the pelvic floor and how we use the throat. But like zoom that out to be able to see pelvic floor and pharynx, throat, soft palate, that whole complex area.
This bird is singing.
Yeah, you just figured something out. Something just happened.
I did. Wow, the pharynx really wants to close
Uh-huh.
when the pelvic floor tenses up.
Uh-huh.
So it was really interesting because I thought that the closing was happening here, but it was happening at the same time in both places.
About it.
And that's what I was laughing about because it was almost like they both got caught. like my brain went, hey, well, wait a second.
You could go from the top down and go, well, in the pharynx, if I'm not tensing there first, maybe I can lead the pelvic floor
to release.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm not saying a thing. Mm-hmm.